Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Waxing Table podcast. I'm Michaela, your host, and today we are joined by a very, very special guest. Her name is Anika Bodden, and she is Beauty with Bodden on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and all the platforms. I am so excited for this episode. I've been wanting to speak with her for a long time. I've been following Anika since I was freshly out of school, I believe, like in 2017. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy. so so what's up, girl? How are you?
I'm good. I'm currently sitting in front of my window watching it snow very beautifully.
Ooh, it's snowing. Okay. Does it snow a lot where you are around this
Um,
time?
and January is always like a weird month for winter. I feel like December there wasn't a lot of snow. In January we've had like two snowstorms so far, so it's just
Mm,
getting started.
well, have fun with that snow. I'm not a fan, so have fun with that.
Wow, I'm not a fan either.
Well, for people who do not know who you are, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
I'm Anika, as you kindly introduced. I am an esthetician, content creator, social media influencer. I live in Toronto, Canada. Was born here. Was born in the Cayman Islands. I don't have an accent. Well, I do have an accent, but that's code switching. I talk about beauty, skincare, parts of my life, sunscreen, but I'm most well known for the Pimple Patch Chronicles. That is what kind of boosted me on TikTok and gave me some virality on there and YouTube as well. People seem to love to give me unsolicited advice on my pimples.
I love your pimple patch chronicle. That's like a tongue twister. I love watching those. They're so satisfying. Like, oh my gosh, the close-ups. You have to go watch them. They're the best. It's like a weird obsession, I think, for estheticians. I don't know, or skincare people.
That and like I feel like extraction videos people love. They're always like,
Yes.
I don't do that in that way. Everyone is an expert sometimes when it comes to things on the internet, even when you didn't ask. They're like,
Yep.
especially being an esthetician too, when I post waxing videos, people love to tell me that they don't do it that way and they're an esthetician. And then you go and look at their page and it's like, interesting.
Just all the comments that people leave are, yeah, unnecessary sometimes. But it's like, okay, what can you do? You know,
I just tell myself it's just engagement at this point in time. Like, you know
E-
what? Thank you.
exactly. It's helping you at the end of the day, so it's fine. So describe your life growing up a little bit. Were you like always into skincare and makeup and stuff?
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, well, I think I've always been a creative person. I liked crafts in high school and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like when you kind of are growing up, your parents are like you need a proper career, like a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant. Those like fit into a certain type of box. And I was at university for media studies and I was just posting YouTube. Mind you, I was not getting views. I want to preface this by saying I was not getting views. It's not about views, but I would post like my makeup tutorials and all this stuff. They're still up on my channel, of course, because for the plot. But yeah, and then I realized I just wasn't happy for a multitude of reasons at university. And then I just applied to makeup school. I went to makeup school, so I left university, went to makeup school, and then I realized, I kind of want to learn more about skin because in makeup school, you learn very minimal things about skincare. It's like, okay, apply a toner, micellar water, moisturizer, no sunscreen, no
Mm.
sunscreen. So went to aesthetic school. I thought I was going to be like strictly facials, but then I fell in love with like seeing people wax. Did waxing take to me? Oh no. Mm-mm. Like, I definitely need to talk about this, but I struggled so hard to learn waxing. Like, and this is soft wax, which is pretty straightforward. But you know what? I think it comes down to technique and your teacher of who is
Facts.
teaching you because
I
my
agree.
aesthetics instructor was very, very old school. And even with hard wax, she was like figure eight. I don't think figure eight is a good, yeah, your face.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't, it's just no,
Mm-mm.
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it took me a really long time. I remember telling my mom, like, I need to go and get my own wax warmer. So I think we ended up going to like Sally's and I got my like GG wax. And if you know, you know, if you're an
Mhm.
esthetician, you know about GG wax.
Mhm. It
So
all
I
started
got
there.
that. Yeah, I got that and I started like practicing on my legs, which I think if anyone's trying to get into waxing, the most forgiving place to try is your legs. Like, don't try your underarms and do not do what I also did when I was learning hard wax at home and try your own Brazilian. Just, you think, yeah,
As you were learning, you tried your own Brazilian.
mistakes, they were made.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Oof.
Yeah.
You did it with Gigi soft wax?
No, it was like a cheap hard wax.
Okay.
Like one of the like super, super cheap hard wax that like cracks. So I ended up taking, it took me like an hour because like I kept putting on more because I was like, oh, like maybe if I put on more, it'll be easier to rip. Plot twist, if you're listening, you're watching this, it's not easier to rip. Okay. Once you have that little piece, stop. Just stop. Don't go any further. Don't keep applying it. Just take your hands off and just be like, okay, I'm done.
Just back away.
Yeah, back away. And then if you can, get a scissors and try to trim it off. And if not, just rip it the opposite way you applied it
Oh
or the same
my
way you applied it.
gosh.
And then just pray.
Wow. Believe it or not, I've never waxed my own Brazilian. I'm terrified.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I probably could at this point, but I'm terrified. Like, no. I feel like I will
Yeah.
eventually, but I don't
I've done
know.
mine with soft wax. I mean, am I crazy for that? A little bit. But I don't know. I find when the hair is like pretty long, soft wax it does its job.
Yeah, soft wax is one of those things. It's honestly like I think it depends on the person, but it does hurt a lot more. But
I think
it
it comes
it, it
down to
grabs
technique.
those, yeah, it grabs those
I think
hairs.
with soft wax, you really need to have a good technique down.
Hmm.
Hard wax is, I was telling my client, hard wax is more forgiving.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you did waxing for a little bit and you got interested. So what kind of made you start posting like content? What inspired that?
I kind of, I was posting makeup on my account. All of those posts are archived, so don't worry, you cannot see them. So when I
I'm
went
gonna
to like
scroll back down.
when I went to makeup school, I wanted to like post, like to have my portfolio and all that stuff. And then I just was like posting my makeup looks and all that stuff before I started makeup school. And then obviously you can see the progression. Well, you can't see the progression, but I can see the progression of like my skills getting better on myself. And like I really did want to pursue makeup, but makeup is very cutthroat, which is fine. But something that people don't talk about when it comes to just any sort of industry is like you need money to make money and to have those connections and to network. So I kind of just started like learning about skincare from Miss Jackie Anna, Miss Jackie. So I kind of learned about that. And then I don't even know. I think I kind of randomly stumbled into like Skinstagram as they used to call it. I apologize if you hear my stomach gurgling. I'm not hungry. I just had some yogurt, but it likes to make noises. So yeah, I kind of stumbled into it and then I learned that there were like this whole group of like estheticians and people on there who like make skinfographics and charts. And that's kind of like how I started doing that too. And I realized like there wasn't a lot of representation when it came to Black estheticians, at least none that I saw who were being like kind of acknowledged and promoted and talked about by brands. So I really wanted to be that person. And I was also on Twitter. Skincare Twitter is also too kind of what like got me into like, oh, okay, there's like a whole world of like Black community people who are just into skincare.
I love that. That's one of the reasons why I followed you too, because I didn't really see a lot of Black creators out there talking about skincare or like just other estheticians. And so I appreciated all of your information that I was just being flooded with. I was learning so much as just a new esthetician in the game.
And
So,
that was it too for me, is like I felt like all of these people were so seasoned. I'm like, where are the new estheticians who don't necessarily have this like disposable income to just be like, let me do this, let me do that, and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice that, and I love that there are so many estheticians who do follow me, whether they're newly fresh out of school or in school or seasoned estheticians. Because like I feel like we can all learn so much from each other. And if we're being honest, the Milady textbook is very, very outdated.
very, yeah,
That book needs a whole revamp. But even when it came to skin of color and like diseases and disorders and all of that kind of stuff, I didn't see me in the book.
yeah.
Like
There's so
the
much more that needs to be in
the
there. That's,
little pages, it's like a page and a half, almost 2 pages of ethnic skin. It's like, oh, that's it. That
yeah.
you're like turning for the rest of it. And especially even hyperpigmentation, man, and just sunscreen and all that kind of stuff. Like it took me 2019, I think, is when I started to be like, okay, I probably need to be wearing sunscreen a little bit more. But even in school, there was not an emphasis on wearing sunscreen. And I feel like the whole
Mm-mm.
point of being an esthetician is to educate. But that is one of the most important things that like every person needs to be wearing is their sunscreen. And especially if you are someone who suffers from like dark spots or hyperpigmentation and you're a person of color, and even if you're waxing, there's so many clients who don't know after they get a wax, they're like immediately going on vacation. Like usually next day they're flying out and you're just like, well, hey, you actually can't be going in the swimming pool. Like you can't really be going in the ocean. And they're like, yes, I can. And you're like, well, you could.
Hmm.
Should you is a better question. And, burns and all that kind of stuff. Like in school, I got burnt when we were, not only did I get burned, I got my skin ripped off in my armpits, my arm, sometimes underarms, because apparently estheticians don't like the word
Yeah,
armpits.
it's
There's this whole debate on if you should say underarms or
I
armpits.
know, right? I say
What's
underarms.
the Yes, the underarms is the more politically correct, but I got my skin ripped off in school. I'm pretty sure everyone who's been to aesthetic school has some sort of horror story of just the waxing module. So I got burnt on both of my arms
And
and the skin ripped off underneath my underarm. It never grew back.
your underarm hair never grew back.
No, no, no. Well, where like the skin and stuff got ripped off, I had like a cyst and they like waxed
Oh,
over it twice.
mm,
And like,
like the skin never healed over.
yeah, so it's like a weird, like pitted kind of scar. If you
Mm,
see my underarm waxing videos, you'll be able to see it. Like
okay.
premium underarm content. But yeah, I've had laser as well. I know this was a spicy debate in my comment section about me waxing and having laser. But I've had 2 sessions of laser on my underarms. I've done my like chin area.
How was it for you? How was that your experience with the laser?
I fell asleep.
Yeah, okay, so it didn't bother you. I've heard lasering like hurts for some
Um,
reason. I've never gotten
from
lasered,
what
but
I was told from like Sharp Light, they have an NDA like this the safe stuff for a person of color. The reason why it hurts sometimes is one, it's like not the right hand piece and it's not the right machine
okay.
for skin of color. Like it's warm, but it shouldn't be hot and it shouldn't be uncomfortable. Like
Yeah,
if I could
okay.
fall asleep, I fully was like knocked out for 20 minutes.
Nice. So,
So
okay. So how is your hair now? Did your hair go back or?
in some places, it's like balding. I have two spots on my leg that don't grow hair at all. There's no hair follicle. Well, there's obviously a follicle, but there's no hair in them, and it mirrors each other on my legs. So I didn't grow hair there, but I would say it's pretty sporadic. Same thing with my underarms. Like it's pretty sporadic. Nothing wild. I will say I did get ingrowns after, but to be kind of expected because like I don't shave. Like I think I've been waxing my underarms since like 2018. It's 2024. So do with that
Yeah.
information as y'all will. That
Hmm.
it's been a minute and a half of waxing my underarms and lasering and all of that kind of stuff. Stella has decided that she's going to disturb the peace, so she will be making an appearance. Um, but I absolutely want to do laser. That's something that I'm like working towards and I would like to invest in for myself, but also for clients. I do have quite a few clients with like PCOS. Ideally, I would like to try electrolysis since electrolysis is the only like permanent form of hair removal, but
Hmm.
it's so old school that I feel like no one really offers it.
Yeah. I don't really see that either. But I'm sure there are places though. I just haven't
Mhm,
really researched and really looked into it. But I want to circle back to you mentioned the sunscreen and how important it is, especially in beauty school. That wasn't really emphasized as much. And also like for me at least growing up in the my family, I was told that we didn't need sunscreen and that it's for other people and every
for
time
the
we
flowerless
for
faves,
right.
palm
So
colored, the palm
um
colored folks.
yeah, and so it was something that we never were properly educated on so that we didn't need it. And I was told that they wear it because they don't want to get sunburned and we don't burn because we're black. But
Yeah,
that's not actually true.
like I grew up in
And
the Caribbean, so like when you look at pictures of me as a kid, I'm not saying this to be politically incorrect, but I was like dark skin. Like I had color on me. Obviously now, where's that? That would be a product of sunscreen and age and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the only time growing up in like the Caribbean, I wore sunscreen is like if you're going to the beach or like if you were going outside for like some sort of event, you would put
mhm,
on sunscreen. That was
yep.
it. Otherwise,
Hmm.
like black people don't need sunscreen. It was always like that's not for us.
Right,
We didn't
exactly.
get a sunburn. I've personally never experienced a sunburn. Again, knocking on wood right now. I've never experienced a sunburn. And when I told my friend that, she was like, "You're lying." And I was like, "No, like I've never had a sunburn. Might not have been consistent with my sunscreen, but I've never had a sunburn."
Yeah, I've been burned before, like on my face.
Really?
And my
Oh,
daughter gets burned too when she's out in the sun for too long. So yeah, black people can get burned by sun, you guys. It's a thing, truly. And I think now that there are so many sunscreen options for us, but back in the
mm,
day, it was hard to find a sunscreen that didn't leave a white cast.
yeah, it
And
was giving copper tone sports.
okay.
Like if you wanted a sunscreen, it was going to be a mineral
Hmm.
sunscreen. I mean, they had chemical sunscreens, but even like the whole debate with chemical versus mineral, and there's a lot of fear mongering too, I think, when it comes to sunscreen. And to
Hmm.
me, I think that's also why a lot of Black folks are kind of ignorant when it comes to the whole debate of sunscreen because it's a lot of
Hmm.
ignorance. Like, we don't need it. Although
Hmm.
Black people get skin cancer, but theirs goes undiagnosed
Hmm.
because again, like when you go back to the aesthetics textbook and you see the ABCDEs of skin cancer, you see it on someone who is Caucasian.
Hmm.
You don't see it on someone who is a person of color because it's going to look different.
Yep, I agree. So do your research, people, especially just as being an esthetician is so important to like educate ourselves and understanding that we are in the business of skin, all skin, not just one type of skin, not just one skin that looks a certain way. It's important that we are educating ourselves so that we can give proper, advice to the people that we're servicing. So,
Although we're not doctors, a lot of estheticians like to step out of our scope of practice. Let's let's stay in our scope of practice. We cannot diagnose.
mm-mm.
Okay, you can say, "Hey, I think you should see a doctor or, your healthcare provider," but we cannot diagnose things.
Yeah, it gets real
Even if,
sticky when you
yeah,
try.
people love to blur the lines, but I would just recommend, when in doubt, just making an appointment with your doctor or I mean, I'm in Canada. I know the American healthcare system
Hmm,
is something,
hmm.
but definitely talk to someone who has gone to medical school, not Google medical school.
Not Google school. Okay.
Yes, Google University and YouTube University.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about content creation and working with brands because this is the wave of the world right now. It's just a real hot topic. When did you
Especially my mom
start?
is a content creator now.
Yeah, literally. So when did you start working with brands and what's your experience been like so far with that?
Hey, Esty Bestie. Okay, so let's be real. We all know that the wax you use can make or break your business. Are you struggling to find the right wax? Is your current wax breaking and leaving hairs behind? Well, honey, I got you because Nova Wax is here to rescue you from the headache. Nova Wax is low temperature, never breaks, and will cut your waxing time in half. Use code Thewaxingesthetician to save 15% off on your order. Come join the Nova fam.
Hmm. What do you count as working with brands? Do you count receiving like PR as working with brands or
Yeah.
like in a paid? The
Mhm.
first time I got PR was from Pixie. It was 2018. I remember it came in the mail and I fully cried, like fully burst into tears crying. Let me
Aw.
pull up the archives. It's not really archive, it's on my Facebook. But I was just in tears because I was like, wait, what? That's when I really did my research. There was a lot of gatekeeping on,
Mm.
how people got stuff. But yeah, you'll have to watch the video portion to see. But like,
Oh, you have the picture. Aw. You
yeah,
guys
it
have to go
was
on YouTube and watch and see the photo that she's
I
showing.
still kept it. Like I still have the box
Wow.
because I was like, this is like so freaking cool. But I
Yeah. So
like
how did that happen?
um if there's one thing about me is if no one's gonna tell me, I'm gonna teach myself. So I started Googling. Yes, people, Google does help.
Mhm.
Use it sometimes before asking people questions. And I realized like the people that I was like mutuals with. So like if you don't know, mutuals, people you follow, they follow you. They all kind of like pretended that they had no idea how brands were getting their address for things. So I just started Googling. And I remember I came across this like list of brands that you could reach out to and had forms to fill out. And Pixie had a form. I don't know if this form still exists, but I'm still on Pixie's PR list. And
Nice.
that was 2018. So 6 years later. So yeah, I just started like reaching out to brands and like DMing them, direct messaging again for the non, I don't even know what you would call it. But yeah, and then 2019, I think is when I did like my first like paid thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I made it. I'm just gonna say this because don't do what I did. I did 6 videos and like a bunch of pictures for $40. And I thought that I was it. This is before Reels existed. But
Mhm.
don't do that. Do not do that.
Yeah. Well, you got to start from somewhere. You have to learn from somewhere,
Yeah.
you know?
But this is,
But yeah.
I mean, I guess people were getting paid, but it definitely, the influencer culture and content creation has definitely changed. So I don't even know. Let me look through the Facebook album and see. Then I kind of like started figuring out brands. And then like I remember I won a giveaway in 2018 too from Thank God It's Natural. So I won this
Oh,
massive
wow.
box with all of their hair care products. And then I got stuff from like Shea Moisture, more Pixie, I got to work with like the Black Beauty Supply store, so I got like bundles of hair. You really start to like learn, okay, like brands send stuff. And
Yeah.
then I honestly just posted what I had because like as again I say, when it takes money to make money when it comes to content creation. So I wasn't in a space to have all of the new stuff and these like trendy stuff at the time. And this is a time when like shelfies were a thing, which is basically like you had a shelf with all of your skincare. I still have the shelf that I started out with, but I didn't have all of these products. So I remember I would like beg my mom to take me to like Winners, which is y'all's version of like TJ Maxx, so I could like get this stuff on like a discount and stuff because like I could not afford these 50, 40. I mean, now when you see the price of skincare, you're like, girl, that's nothing. But at the time, like it was a luxury. So to get stuff in the mail from brands was huge. It is huge. So it was really cool. And then I got to kind of learn about like there are certain PR companies and agencies and stuff. And then I'm just looking here in 2020, I got stuff from like Boscia, which was really cool. So I got like, and I've kept all the handwritten notes because if there's
Oh,
one thing for me is I love a handwritten note with my name on it.
same.
So,
I do too.
and a lot of the stuff that I got, I entered in giveaways. There was one year I think I won 19 giveaways, and some
Wow.
like, yeah,
That's great.
giveaways.
I've only won like two, maybe, in my life.
Yeah, giveaways are honestly, I would say, a great way. And like lots of professional brands, if you are an esthetician listening to this, lots of professional brands do giveaways. Go
Mhm.
and be that person, okay? Get your besties and tag them. Tag your other, personal account, all that stuff. You
Right.
never know. You
Yeah.
never know. So I won like two Dermalogica giveaways. I won a Mother's Day one, so my mom and I got to go and do facials at the Dermalogica.
Oh,
I've
that's
also won
cool.
like 10 pounds of chicken wings.
Okay.
Was it
Wait,
10
what?
pounds of chicken wings? 5 pounds of chicken wings? Yeah. I've won some very,
What? Who? What? Like, is it a skincare company, or was
no,
it
this was
like
like a food, like a Toronto food
okay?
Instagram that was
Okay.
hosting it. I've won some very, very random. I won a Carol's daughter giveaway, but like I
That's
realized it was
cool.
only for the States. So I just gave my
Mm,
friend's address and I was like, hey, stuff is going to show up at your door. You can keep it.
nice.
So
That's really cool. So, whenever
yeah.
you receive these products, did the
Mhm.
brands tell you to post about it? Like, what was the agreement with it?
Um, Usually there's no agreement. You kind of just post about it on your stories and like thank the brand. But like when I
Okay.
was kind of like building up a following and stuff, I would post on my regular feed. Again, most of these you can't see because they're all archived. But I would post about them on my Instagram and kind of that stuff just to kind of get like I don't really want to say notoriety, but kind of to get your name and like your account out there and all of this
Hmm.
kind of stuff. Now I kind of maybe more so on TikTok I post, but Instagram I'm kind of honing back in on doing more dedicated and detailed reviews on products. So that's definitely one of my like content creator goals is
Hmm.
to review more products and not just professional only products because that was a big thing too when I was doing content creation was medical grade skincare, medical grade. And when I looked at the price of like professional brands, I was like, yeah, this is we are in different tax brackets.
Hmm. Okay.
So that's how I kind of like built a relationship with CeraVe and got to work with them is I just learned about CeraVe and I started posting about them and then I started getting PR and then I took a picture with my cat Stella that if you're watching the video, saw who came to a little hangout, and it ended up being featured in one of their like PR mailers that a bunch of influencers got across like Canada,
Oh,
which is
that's
like
cool.
yeah, it was a super cool opportunity. So I would just say post organically if you are someone trying to like dip into content creation. Don't fall into the trap that many people fall into with consumerism, that you need all of these things. I'm not going to lie, you're like probably looking behind me being like, is that your 25 moisturizer? Oh, no, they're just props. But you don't have to have every single product. If you like stuff, post about it, talk about it. People want to see that. People, I think, very much, especially now where it's very oversaturated, even with aesthetics, everyone is suddenly a professional with sometimes zero credentials. People just want to see normal stuff. They're curious, what is their esthetician using?
Mhm.
What sunscreen are you loving? What antiperspirant are you using? I would like to know what some people's toothpaste is, because some of these people's teeth do be looking really white. And I'm like, wait a second, what toothpaste are you using? Like, what is your dental, like your routine? So people want to see that. I love seeing videos of what's in my shower. I'm so nosy. So when people
Mm.
are showing like what's in their shower and what's in their bathroom, I'm like, okay, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, getting some ideas. Do I need to try that? So
Yeah.
it's just being yourself. I think that's the best thing. You didn't ask for advice, but like if you are someone who's like debating content creation, just show up as yourself. You don't need the aesthetic vibe. You are your own aesthetic. Show up
Okay.
and this is who you are.
Yeah. There you go. So, what do you think the major difference is now from when you first started working with brands to like how things have evolved now? Are you like more choosy with who you work with now? Or are you like open? Like, how is that for you?
Excuse me. I guess this will be the most transparent. I feel like you can only work with brands who email you and who reach out to you and you build a relationship with. I am open to collaborating and partnering with brands, but I'm also very particular. I think my authenticity and just what I talk about and the brands that I share really matters to me when it comes to like ethics and morals and making sure like I really am aligned with the brands that I talk about. And I feel like even when I am, a millionaire, Delulu vibes only, and manifestation, I'm still going to be using drugstore skincare. I'm still going to be using, affordable skincare products. Not to say that I won't maybe have some professional products sprinkled in, but I want to make sure that like the brands that I'm using, the brands that I'm putting my clients onto, that I'm talking about are products that I actually like, I enjoy, I believe in, because to me, like your reputation is everything. Even as an esthetician, like there are some people who are very product pushy. They're going to sell you on a dream. They're going to sell you on this. This is what's going to do it for you. And I'm not saying maybe it won't, but for me personally, that really matters. And like, I don't want to ever lose sight of that. Whether I have 100,000 followers, whether I have 1 million followers, I just want to be genuine and I want to be relatable and I don't want to try to pretend to be someone I'm not. This is all so hypocritical. If you've been following me and you know the truth. I'm just struggling with that. But yeah, sometimes you just have to just be you.
Yeah.
And the brands who like you for you, they'll find you, they'll gravitate towards you. I know so many people think like you need followers. Followers are great, but followers doesn't necessarily equate to anything. You can have 1 million followers and not actually be talking about anything in specific or
Mhm.
having some sort of influence and all of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I agree. Your following doesn't like give you value at all. Like it doesn't equate to your expertise or the value that you bring as a person. So,
and you shouldn't have that number ever make you feel as if it is that. At the end of the day, it's just a number. It doesn't reflect
Mhm.
who you are as a person. It doesn't say anything about you. And I think that for a lot of times it's kind of frustrating because for brands, they're looking at the return of, investment and interest, the ROI and all of that kind of stuff. They're looking at like your engagement percentage, your like to comment ratio, the shares, all of this kind of stuff. They're so focused on views and everything else, but views don't necessarily equate to sales.
Mm-hmm.
People might be buying stuff, but are they returning it? Because lots of people forget that like a return doesn't actually count as a sale. You're
Mm-hmm.
not in the pluses, you're in the minuses. So it's tricky navigating. And I keep saying to my friends, don't focus if you try to become a content creator on working with brands and becoming famous. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
What do you think the focus should be?
Just show up as yourself. If you get views, you get views. If like, what is it you want to do? Are you here to educate people? Are you here to share about yourself, your life, who you are, what you're doing? What is it? What's motivating you to do this? Are you doing it because you want free, quote unquote, stuff? I'm gonna let y'all know from now, nothing in life is free. Everything costs a price. So you know, it's great to have views, it's great to have followers, but followers doesn't mean you have money in your bank account. Followers
Facts.
also doesn't mean that you're valued. Followers doesn't mean that you're also happy. Lots of people post online, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're happy. And you also have to learn that content creation is a job. You are not
It
going to go
is.
you're not gonna maybe some people do grow and go viral overnight and wake up to millions of followers, but that might necessarily not be you. You still have to put in work. You have to put in extra hours, and I think people very much consume content, but they're not on the other side of it. It's kind of like when you show up to get your wax. You just kind of show up, the wax is on, the room is clean, you're not seeing your esthetician there maybe 30-40 minutes before her shift because someone else was in the room, maybe if you're at a chain, before her, scrubbing down on the floor with like a paint scraper and all of this kind of stuff, really cleaning the room and putting it, making sure the tweezers and everything, the tools are disinfected, all of that kind of stuff. You kind of just show up and everything's done and you're like, okay, great. Thank you so much. You get your service done and you leave. You kind of don't have the mask and the veil kind of, it's kind of like Oz, there's this huge curtain and you're like, what the heck is behind the curtain? Like you're so curious, but then you're like, there's this huge voice and all of this, lights. And then you see behind the curtain and you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't want that. And I think it's okay. Not everyone is meant to be a content creator, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Don't feel the pressure and the need to do it because everyone else is doing it. You can
That's
go
so good.
off, Also, blogging is making a comeback. Maybe you aren't a social media content creator in the sense of like you're like a lifestyle vlogger or whatever. Maybe you have a blog, maybe you have a podcast. You
Right.
don't have to be a TikToker or an
Yeah.
Instagram. I don't know. Do people say Instagrammer now? I don't know what they
I
say.
don't know.
Feeling really old right now when I'm like, what do people say?
Right. I think that's good that you mentioned that. I think you have to do what feels the most organic to you and on whatever platform that is. Like I love listening to podcasts. So I'm gonna do podcasting, If you love watching YouTube videos, do YouTube. If you love TikTok, go TikTok. So I think
You know
there's
what
I
also
like
is
that there's
really slept
multiple
on is
things.
Pinterest. Pinterest is slept on. I used to get a lot of views on my Pinterest before like it started switching over. But like again, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. There are different ways of doing things. You can even be a streamer, Streaming? Streaming
Mm-hmm.
has a
Mm-hmm.
lot, there's a lot of money to be made in streaming and partnerships and all of that kind of stuff. So
Yes.
and also, if it's a hobby, I think this is really important. It's important to have hobbies that you enjoy that don't feel like work and don't feel like a chore.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment things start feeling that way, and if you enjoy just watching content and just that's how you unwind, I don't think you should slip into the realm of being a content creator because it does take a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're not going to make any money and it's not going to pay off for quite a long time. And you
Yes.
have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. So how do you balance your personal life with content creation?
I don't. Thank you for asking. I don't. I am trying to do that now. I don't have any resolutions for 2024, but I want to have work-life balance. And a lot of that is having hobbies that aren't on social media that don't involve my phone. So
Yeah.
I started taking up reading again. I hadn't read in like years for just fun. For just fun.
Yeah.
And I started in like 2021 and I realized, oh my gosh, this feels so freaking good. So I ended up I think in 2022, yeah, I read 170 books.
What?
I don't know who I thought I was, but yeah, I read
That's
170.
great. That is amazing. What kind of books? Were they just different books? Or was it
I just like to read romance, smutty books.
okay?
But you know what? Again, it doesn't even matter. I felt like so self-conscious, but I'm like, it's a book. You're freaking reading.
Yeah.
And then over last summer, my friend's daughter was playing the piano, and I was like, you know what? I really missed playing the piano. That was one thing I had to give up as a kid. So I went on Facebook Marketplace, bought a freaking piano, and I've been doing that since the summertime. Not as consistent, but it's fun. And I want to start back getting into like cricketing and crafting. I already have some like ideas kind of, swirling in my head and relaunching my merch because I had like some shirts that said like I can't talk right now. I'm
I
thinking like,
saw that.
yeah.
Yes.
And then I have like some tote bags that say groceries. Just kidding, it's skincare. So I wanna get back into those types of things. And I think those are really important. Is also it's so healing your inner child to do things that like make you happy and bring you joy.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else as long as it makes sense to you. This is
Right.
basically a free therapy session. But you will thank yourself later, and your body will thank you, and your peace of mind will thank you. Have those boundaries in place. And no, like you don't always have to record everything if you are a content creator. Sometimes it's okay to just mindfully enjoy things and don't feel guilty about resting. I think we are very much in a capitalistic society and culture that like rest is frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not working, like you're not working hard enough, you should always be doing something. Sometimes by doing something, like by resting, by taking a nap, by just like spending time with your friends and your family,
That is
that
doing
is,
something.
it's valuable. Okay. It might
Mm-hmm.
not be monetary value, but it holds value in the sense of like you're protecting your mental health and your peace of mind. And that's time that you won't be able to get back.
And that's it. Words by Anika right there, guys.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Period. Episode finished. We're done. That's
Yes,
all we need to
exactly.
say.
Honestly, you answered all pretty much almost all the questions that I've had just in, you sharing. So what is your final piece? I know you've already shared advice to us about like if someone wants to get into content creation and they don't know where to start, what is your one advice that you would give to them?
Hmm.
Or if they want to start working with brands specifically, where should they start?
Uh, just post what you have. Post what you have. Connect with whatever community it is, and know that you don't have to niche down and only be a skincare content creator. Only do this. I remember when I was starting. I haven't told a lot of people this, but when I was starting out, there was some estheticians. I didn't know they had a large following, but I remember telling them in like their live, like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to be a waxer and do facials," and they laughed and they were like, "Imagine trying to do that. Like, you can't do that. You can do whatever you want to do. There are no rules."
Mm-hmm.
Is it unfortunate that these people have a large platform and all of that, and we're like that to look down and judge and kind of bully and laugh and joke about it? Yeah, it sucked, but I feel like it just further made me want to do it anyways. Like, there are no rules.
Mm-hmm.
There's to say that you can be an esthetician, you can't be an esthetician, and you can't be a content creator, you can't talk about drugstore skincare. You can do whatever you want. There are rules in life. I just want to say this before you go and do something wild now. I'll be like, I listened to Michaela's podcast and Anika was on it, and I did not say that. I want to preface this, but there are no rules to anything. If you want to do something, The moment that you start posting it, you're doing it. You know, I will say that was the one piece of advice that our aesthetics instructor gave us is like the moment we started aesthetic school, we were estheticians. Now, did we know what we were doing? No, but bring people along for that. I tell my
Right.
friends this time, like, no one's an expert in anything. So just bring people along for the journey. People want to see that. People want to
Yes.
see normal people being successful and doing things.
I
So
agree.
you don't need to niche down. If you want to be an esthetician and you want to post about your clients and a day in the life, post it. Someone wants to watch that. Someone wants to see the before and after picture. Someone wants to see what the heck you were using when you first started school and what you're using now. And I kind of want to go back and do a little reaction to some of the things that I was using in aesthetic school and like when I first got into skincare versus now, because it's kind of funny to see the growth and the timeline of just everything, but just have fun with it. There are no rules. You know, you don't need to have a nice backdrop and all of that kind of stuff. And if you do, that's great, but not everyone does. And that's okay too. Like you show up as you and take it or leave it. Don't worry about the
Exactly.
followers. Don't worry about the views. Don't worry about, oh, what about this brand? You can have goals that you want to reach, but don't set a timeline to when you're going to reach them. As someone who's a perfectionist, that would be my best piece of advice is do things without the expectation that they're going to happen. Engage organically with brands, but like you shouldn't have to comment on every single brand's photo, react to every single story for them to send you stuff, whether you have a following or you don't. And if you only end up ever having 1,000 followers, that's still 1,000 people who want to follow you,
Yeah.
who care about what you're posting about. So don't compare your grass to someone else's pasture. Theirs could be artificial grass. And you could be here wondering, why does their grass always look green and lush and fluffy? Or maybe they're using some chemicals. You don't know. You have no idea. All you know is you. And I think that's just what you got to stick to. If that is who you are, that is who you are. If you are a hot mess, own it. Be the hot mess, me, every single day. Sometimes you're going to be put together and sometimes you're not. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And if a brand doesn't want to work with you, you're going to hear a lot of no's before you hear a lot of yeses. The list of
Yeah.
brands I've reached out to that said nothing or has left me on red versus the ones who said yes, learn to hear no and know that it's not a no, it's a not right now. I had to tell myself that it's a not right now. It doesn't mean in the future this brand won't work out to you or you might not get stuff from them. And it's okay to buy stuff yourself. Okay. You don't need to rely on a brand to give you everything. Sometimes it's cool to just go to the store and buy stuff. Now, if I had Target like you, I would probably be there every single day being like, let's see what's new at Target.
Oh my gosh. Target is a
However,
weakness. Okay.
and Dollar Tree. I love these Dollar Tree videos. Y'all, Dollar Tree and
Same.
Dollar General. No one seems to go to CVS and Walgreens. Why is that?
You only really go there for like drugstore stuff, like if you're getting medicine or like if you just need to like get something really quick because it's like the closest store around. Like I used to go there to get diapers sometimes because it was just the closest one. I didn't want to go all the way to the store. So just like it's convenience.
And then I had my first experience with Ulta. If I had Ulta, oh no. Mm-mm. There's
There's
a
no
reason why.
where you are.
No, we
Oh
don't
my
have Ulta in Canada.
gosh.
We don't
That's
have
probably a
Target.
good thing.
Yeah, it is. My bank account is a little bit happier, but I would it's cool and it's exciting. Go to TJ Maxx, go to, Home
Yeah.
Goods and Home Sense and Winners and
hmm
Marshalls and all of those stores. You find some good stuff. And also like contrary to people being like the expiration date, check the expiration date. Don't go on the
Yes.
youth app. Don't go on all of those apps talking about this is a chemical and it's toxic. Water is a chemical. Oxygen is a chemical.
hmm
Okay, let's stay in our scope of practice as human beings and just regular day people, but enjoy
Exactly.
stuff. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing of content creation and just in general and in life and even being an esthetician, have hobbies. Enjoy just doing stuff for fun and being a kid and being silly again. It's so healing and freeing to giggle and laugh sometimes. Like
It is.
you don't know And that's like the biggest dopamine and like serotonin boost is when you just have like a giggle fit and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot what it's like to just laugh
Mm-hmm.
just because. And it
Mm-hmm.
feels so freeing.
I love that. Wow. We talked about hobbies. And so I have one final piece as we are getting ready to wrap up here. So it's important to have hobbies. It's important to do things and pour into ourselves. So what does self-care mean to you? And what is one way you're going to practice that this week?
Self-care means to me taking care of me in any sort of capacity and way that is going to help me unwind a bit, relax a bit, release the tension. Whether I find like my self care every day is my nighttime routine. That's like my favorite thing to do. I love to go and shower. I wash my face in the shower. Sue me, come get me
Same.
dressed, whatever you want. But that's my favorite thing to do. It's like how I like to unwind and reading. I try to read like every night before bed. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes a girl do be dropping to sleep, but those little things, it doesn't have to be a lot. Sometimes it's drinking a cup of tea, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be big things, but it's just something that makes you feel good and like you can pour into yourself. I made a vision board, so I am trying to just every day I'm looking at it. It's motivating me. I'm looking at my bank account and I'm like picturing that money, those finances being in there. When you see me flew out on the jet coming to get Michaela, just no,
Okay.
it was time. But honestly, I watched someone's video and they were saying that they were trying to practice like doing 3 things every day that they're and showing gratitude for. And I've been trying to do that since I heard and watched that. So, every day, not just the usual, like, I'm thankful to be alive, but like 3 good things that happened today.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very easy to get consumed in all the things that are going wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not necessarily going wrong, but right now it doesn't feel like anything's going right. But you
Mm-hmm.
never know. I love those messages from people who follow me and friends who are like, hey, you're just doing really good. You
Sometimes you just
know,
need to hear that. You just need to
And
hear it.
you do, and you don't realize how much you need to hear it until someone tells you it, and then you're like in tears.
Yeah.
Celebrate every single milestone. You woke up today, you ate, period.
Period. That's
That's
it.
a win.
Celebrate. Mm-hmm.
That's a win. You hit 30,000, views. That's a win. Okay. Just because someone else has done it, you haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
your self care. That's your bit of gratitude. That's your little thing that's just for you. And write down your wins. That's one thing that I'm trying to do more is writing down my wins, whether it's in a physical journal, whether it's just in your phone's notes app. Sometimes you need a reminder of all the things that are going right,
Yeah.
that have gone right.
That's so good. I have a gratitude journal that I have not written in yet. So this is a really great nudge
Open
for
it up.
me. I know.
I'm so
Oh,
grateful
I've
for
opened
Nika.
it. I know,
Like,
really. So yeah, this is a good nudge for me. I like the 3 things because every day is different. So it forces you to choose the good in the everyday. So I'm gonna start my journal probably today.
and when you're
And
watching and listening to this, find our accounts, let us know what are 3
yeah,
things you're grateful for.
yes, let us
One of them is
know.
us. It better be number one. Better be
Right.
number one.
This podcast.
Yeah. Listening, learning, all the good stuff. But yeah, let us
Yes.
know. Like, what are 3 things that you are grateful for right now?
Yeah. Write it down as you're listening to this. Well, Anika, it has been wonderful. And really quick, I want to plug in your podcast because you have a podcast that people need to know about. What is it
Beyond
called?
sheet faced.
I love that name, Beyond Sheet
Yeah.
Face. And who is the podcast for? Who are the
It's for
listeners of this?
everyone and anyone. I like to call it your fave podcast, your fave wind down podcast, whether you're driving, whether you are at work and you need some background noise. I say we because it's a team. I'm
Yes.
really being delusional. We, the team, will launched season 2. You're going to come on the potty, as I like to call it, the
Yay.
party.
The potty. Oh,
Potty.
okay. I like
Yes.
that.
body. Yeah, it's just honestly, it's just showing up as just me. Like no fancy anything. We're talking about stuff. I'm gonna have my mom come on again. Everyone loves when my mom comes on. The last episode, the latest one of season 2 was her talking about skincare and all that kind of stuff. And I decided we need an episode on Caribbean superstitions. So that's gonna be the next episode. There's no specific topic.
Mm.
You could do a face mask and you can listen and laugh. Sometimes you'll hear the cats in the background causing chaos. But yeah, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Spotify is the main platform. I'm trying to be better at updating it across all of them. I think it's on Amazon Podcasts too. But yeah.
It's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. So go
There's an
take a
Instagram.
listen.
Beyond Sheet Face is the Instagram. Join the Sheet Face Club.
Nice. I'll put all the information in the show notes for you guys to take a listen and to go click on it. Again, thank you so much, Anika, for this episode. This was great talking to you. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this one as well. And yeah, y'all have a great rest of your week. And we will talk to you guys next time. Y'all have a good one. Take care.